Alright, draft science video, trying a new technique and such. Whatever, see how it goes. So it's a response video to just a horrible propaganda video. Greatest secret exposed, Tesla nonsense, and just horrible propaganda. I haven't even watched the whole thing, so I don't know exactly what the big secret is, but just the propaganda leading up to it just deserves some sort of response in defense of the rest of science against Nikola Tesla. Jeez.
Never mind that Nikola Tesla was probably the smartest person to have ever have lived.
I mean, there's just no evidence of that. He had a child's mind in many respects. I mean, the little bit he wrote about religion, it was basically, well, my mother was smart, so she believed in God, so it must make sense. I mean, it was that kind of rubbish. The guy didn't write anything. The little bit he wrote was a biography, and it was written, in a high school form. I mean, it wasn't brilliant. No, not the smartest man to ever live. No. He didn't invent electricity. He didn't invent motors. He didn't invent anything, really.
Never mind that 80% of all of your technology is because of him.
It's just such a lie. Like I said, he did not invent motors. He did not invent AC motors, because all generators are alternating current generators. You have to convert them into DC. All electrical generation is alternating current. Tesla's contribution was improvements to existing technology. He did not invent anything.
Never mind that almost every single electronic item or anything you have that plugs in or charges is a direct result of his works and achievements and invention.
It's really not, okay? His lightning tower doesn't really have a damn thing to do with that. The building he burned down doesn't have anything to do with that. He didn't invent the turbine. He didn't. Okay? He improved an alternating current motor, and by doing that made alternating current the choice that civilization went with because it was cheaper. But it isn't better. Most of your electronics, everything for the last 60 or 70 years has required transformers, heavy transformers, to be built into every product to convert the alternating current into direct current that's used by most of the circuitry, the electronics. It's just such an overstatement. I mean, why all this propaganda? It's just conspiracy theory rubbish. Like there's this secret brilliant truth out there of, the forever tire. And Nikola Tesla invented it. No, he invented flaming death. Yeah, not much else. He burned a lot of money.
Never mind that he could speak 8 languages.
Yes, but apparently he couldn't speak any of them very well. So, I mean, again, it's just a complete overstatement. And well, I think it's sort of important how well you speak languages, not just that you speak them.
He had 700 patents from around the world.
Right, because he tried to patent everything. That's true. So everybody did. It was the golden age of invention. So, yeah, lots of people had lots of patents because every thought you had was basically a new thought, okay? Because nothing had been really invented yet, had it? No, it hadn't.
Or that the electric motor, your radio, remote controls, lasers.
Oh, please. I mean, it's just such an exaggeration. I mean, he was paid millions of dollars to do the telegraph thing, and instead he tried to make a death ray. Okay, that's what this tower is about. He tried to transmit electricity through the atmosphere. Okay, like electricity that would run power plants and stuff. A completely impractical, pretty stupid conceptually idea. And he wouldn't let it go. So instead of really inventing radio, he let Marconi do the real thing, and he sat there trying to make his electric tower.
Limitless free energy, potentially.
bullshit all over the place. Where does that come from? Where do you get this dopey idea that Tesla ever invented any such thing and that it's in some secret drawer somewhere? I mean, it's just such a conspiracy nutter theory. Tesla was paid a lot of money in his life. He was very rich many times, and he pissed it all away.
And the alternating current are all a result of his works. And yet,
it's really not the result of his works. These are all things that existed. What he did was come up with, he is, if you want to give him credit for something, it's understanding that you could use phases of electric current, okay, to create greater efficiencies in electric motors. But all this exaggeration is just such crap.
most people aren't even aware of him. All you hear about is...
I mean, no, all you hear about is Tesla from you nuts. I mean, frankly. Tesla, 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 and that you're demonstrate nothing. Okay? The only evidence of Tesla's greatness is Tesla's own words.
Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb, as you're aware.
No, he did a lot of things. The movie projector, the sound recording, and then he's the one who actually made generators, okay, that supplied electricity. He did that. Tesla improved what Edison did, but Edison invented it.
And yet, Thomas Edison was practically shit without Tesla. Now, hold on.
A big, preposterous lie. Thomas Edison was an international character before Tesla. Tesla worked in Europe for a franchise of Edison's in Europe. That's how Tesla worked in America. He came to America to work for the real Thomas Edison instead of working for the surrogate company in Europe. Get your facts straight.
I know that Thomas Edison was a brilliant man. However, the foundation of most of his inventions are because of Tesla's work.
I mean, it's just such nonsense. Most of his inventions have already been invented before Tesla. So how the fuck could that be possible, retard? How did Tesla make the movie projector? How did Tesla make the sound recorder? How did Tesla make the light bulb? Yeah, Tesla didn't have anything to do with any of that shit, did he? No, nothing.
In fact, are you aware that Thomas Edison had promised $10,000 to Tesla?
Do you have any evidence that he promised $10,000 to Tesla? I mean, it's a Tesla story. It's not a story anybody else believes. So you realistically think that a penniless employee comes to America, a foreigner, okay, with nothing but a letter of recommendation from an Edison affiliate, and you're seriously saying that Edison was so controlled by this employee that he thought he had to bribe him with $1 million bonuses to do his job, which was to invent for Edison. That was what he's getting paid to do. Do you understand how that works? And you're saying that, no, that's not a misunderstanding of Tesla, that's Edison's fault. Oh, I see. You're crazy.
To improve his DC current, which he was having issues with at the time. And in the process...
He wasn't having issues with DC current. They had just invented the whole idea of creating, transporting electricity because now they had a light bulb to run on it. And so, yes, there was lots of work to do on creating efficiencies in those motors. And yes, Tesla improved Edison's crude DC generators. They're still AC generators. They were AC generators. You convert AC into DC. Okay, all generators are AC generators. Is that a fact that you knew?
End up inventing the AC current, the alternating current, which
again,
is what we use.
Again, he didn't invent it.
Anywhere in modern.
He didn't invent it. He invented using the specific kind of AC current. Everybody already knew what AC current was. Tesla didn't show up and invent it.
In the modern world for electricity, it requires significantly less power to be used.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so again, this is all just lies. So you can propagandize all you want. There are different efficiencies that each modality have. It's like VHS against Betamax. They're both good vehicles. One costs a little bit more, but it's a little more durable over time, and so there's cost trade-offs. So there's nothing spectacularly better about alternating current. It's just that it allows you to do distribution in a broader sense, so you don't have local power plants. But DC would work just as well. You just have to have more localized power production.
It's just brilliant. And Edison,
well, okay, just remember, it's not brilliant in the sense that it does create risks and it does carry with it liability. So let's not pretend it's absolutely brilliant, because it absolutely does kill people every year.
didn't like that because it wasn't his invention. So he refused to pay Tesla.
That isn't the truth either. Okay, so I'm just saying, so just because somebody chooses to think different, they're doing it for some just completely self-interested. Nobody could ever have a principle but you, huh? Charlie, whatever your name is.
$10,000, and instead he went on an aggressive marketing campaign to try and convince.
Yeah, business. Yes, Edison was in the business of production of product, in the sense that he had to finance all of the inventing he was doing, which he did put all the money in the company. By the way, retard. He didn't create palatial estates somewhere.
It's the public and the powers that be that the alternating current was bad. It would burn down cities and every house in America. And he even went to the extent to kill and electrocute an elephant, dogs, and horses.
Right, an elephant that was going to be killed because the elephant had killed a human being. So it was an elephant they were going to shoot, and so instead of shooting it, they gave it the electric chair, so to speak. The kind of different modification on the theme. So all the animals that Edison killed were all animals from shelters. They were all going to be destroyed. So all he did was kill animals that were going to be killed some other way. So yeah, so instead of being gassed, or however they did it back then, he said, I'll electrocute them instead, to demonstrate the fact that this is lethal electricity.
Horses, to try and prove his point. That guy's a sicko. Edison.
Okay, so again, you're making claims, but you're just basically lying to people. You're saying you're giving people the impression that he went out and got an elephant and killed a perfectly good elephant, and he didn't do that. So you're just lying. So you're a propagandist. You're proud of that? For a truther theory that Tesla was God, and he really wasn't. He was a pretty inarticulate and, frankly, later in life, a lazy nutter who wanted to make a death ray, who tried to sell a death ray to every government in the world. He probably would have sold it to Hitler if Hitler would have bought it.
Go screw himself, like for real.
Yeah, so for real, Tesla can screw himself with his silly nutter ideology that I'm going to sell my death ray, who will ever finance it. Fuck Tesla.
He's not who people think he was. He was a dirtbag.
Yes, well, Tesla was a bit of a dirtbag, to talk about how he could just annihilate hundreds of soldiers with his death ray.
A greedy, money-hungry dirtbag.
Yes, well, Tesla was an elitist, kind of bummy, second-hand inventor. No perspiration.
All that being said, Edison failed in his attempt because obviously Tesla's invention of the AC current was so superior.
He didn't invent the AC current, so again, just a complete exaggeration.
That here it is today. Yet,
and right, it's here today, you're saying because it's superior, like Donald Trump is president because he's superior. You think that's how the world works, huh? Boy, you're pretty naive, butthead.
I mentioned limitless free energy.
Yes, you mentioned a preposterously silly notion. Way to go. You want limitless energy, you're going to have to use something like nuclear, okay? It's not going to come from Tesla's silly Tesla coil. I mean, zapping millions of volts into the ground, okay, from a tower is not exactly going to power the world. It's just going to burn up a lot of electricity. In fact, what Tesla did, he even burned up a couple of power plants. Besides burning down one of his own buildings, he burned up a couple of power plants, but they didn't mind because, frankly, he was wasting so much electricity they were making a killing. But that's how he pissed away his money, with his perpetual energy machine that cost him a fortune in electric bills.
There is enough evidence that suggests that Tesla had figured that out. And when I say
there's no evidence of any such thing, and you're a silly fuckwit. Yes, as you look right there. Silly fuckwit.
Evidence, I would say more of qualifying evidence rather than quantitative.
Oh, well, gee. I mean, you have quality evidence? You don't have a lot of evidence, but you have a special super qualitative piece of evidence? Some sort of like missing link kind of evidence? I don't think you have shit for evidence.
But if you're not aware, Tesla, despite all of his achievements, died poor and shunned at the age of 86.
Yeah, well, shunned for a reason, because he kept promising and promising and promising that he had all this shit, and he didn't have shit. He never delivered anything. He kept saying, I have I have the cure for malaria, I have this, I have that. I'm a day away, and he never delivered. Ever. On his promises. He squandered millions of J.P. Morgan's money, and then he did do Westinghouse a huge favor. I think it was Westinghouse, and they did take care of him in his old age, paid his hotel bill. But frankly, he didn't deserve to live on a laurel for his whole life. His contribution was minuscule compared to other inventors of his time.
When he died, less than 2 days later, the United States government raided his hotel room.
Right, and they did that for what reason, do you think? Because he was going everywhere he could. He was sending letters to foreign governments trying to get them to finance his death ray. I mean, yes, you don't think our government should take a little bit of interest in what might be in the hotel room of a guy who's trying to sell to the rest of the world a death ray? You don't think so?
Took absolutely everything out of it. All of his works, everything.
No, they didn't take everything, so that's another lie, okay? They didn't take everything. They didn't take his toothbrush.
And who knows what they did with it? They claimed that...
yeah, who knows what they did with it? The special super secret knowledge. Well, you think Donald Trump can know? Yeah, Donald Trump's a truth teller. He'll tell us the truth about Tesla, the Tesla file.
He gave everything back to his family later on in Europe, but nobody knows for sure what they took.
Right. Of all the crayon drawings, yes, they took all the really special ones, the ones of the brown horsey. I mean, they were crayon drawings, for fuck's sake. Not that I'm against drawing in crayon. I'm just saying Tesla didn't produce volumes of documentation.
All this being said, and there's many other things I can mention about him, like X-rays or spark plugs and everything else that is in our lives today, can be credited at their root because of the works of Tesla. But I have to
again, that's just complete crap. I mean, the people already knew what arc lights were. They already knew what high voltage was. They knew what all this stuff was. Tesla didn't invent any of this stuff. You kook.
Stop there, because I can keep going on about that.
No, please, you should go on about that and actually cite some real... Why don't you put up a couple of Tesla patents and let's see how well they're written.
The most important achievements that he had wasn't necessarily the death ray that is believed that he had created, that his work...
Yeah, he didn't create it, that's the whole point, but he tried to get some people to finance it. He wanted to finance a military weapon, and that's your hero.
Are probably the result now of some incredible top secret weapons of mass destruction that have been utilized or have been created.
Yes, right. So we're wasting all our time with all these little soldiers and stuff when we already have the death ray, and we could just be death raying the old Mohammedites. We wouldn't even have to use drones. We could just death ray them. Yeah, but we're not doing it. Why?
Saved by the United States government, which a lot of people are interested in. People are fascinated.
Yeah, you're fascinated by silly fucking stories told by twats like you, and that's just so fucking disappointing that this is what the world runs on. I mean, this has got like something like 180,000 views for this stupid piece of twat propaganda.
What it was that Tesla had figured out that made the United States government so eager to take his stuff.
Again, they didn't have anything. They were so eager. The point was he tried to sell the United States government the death ray, and then when they asked for some sort of, well, why don't you prove that you have something like that or you have anything close to that? And he couldn't come up with anything to convince them that he had anything worth investing in, and so they didn't invest in it. But you really think the United States government shouldn't be watching people trying to make death rays? I mean, I think if you're in the business of trying to make a death ray, that the government should maybe pay a little bit of attention.
And obviously, limitless free energy is one of them because the powers that be don't want limitless free energy.
Oh, yes, right, sure. They don't have kids, and they don't have grandkids, and they don't have relatives and families and everybody else who would like to have a wonderful world where people didn't have scarce resources and all that kind of shit. Blah, 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 blah. They all have, whatever, LG stock or something, or whatever the power companies are now. They have some sort of power company stock. They don't invest in anything else. They just invest in power company stock. They certainly wouldn't want to have an advantage of knowing some technology was possible and then actually be able to buy the stock of the companies that could really exploit it, right? We could all have the unlimited power thing, so we wouldn't need efficient motors anymore, and we could waste energy all over the fucking place.
In fact, you only have to look at today on how the biggest corporations on planet Earth have bought up almost all of the water rights that they possibly can in order to...
I don't even think you have evidence of that, silly person. Not even close to evidence of any of that, silly person.
Be able to charge mankind for the most crucial element that we need, or thing that we need, which is water. So, never mind all of...
Yes, and that's one of those things where, a little bit of technology can go a long way. So, yes, why didn't, Tesla sort of figured out how to desalinate water if he was so fucking brilliant?
Because I have a theory that Tesla had discovered something far more significant. Let's use it as an example. And I'll be throwing some quotes up here on the screen.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and do that. Throw some little quote mining up. A little some more just to verify you're nothing but a cheap propagandist.
Read some of them to you. But feel free to press pause in case I don't.
Yeah, well, why don't you get to it? You title a video in capital letters, great secret exposed, blah, 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 and you really aren't getting to that, are you, butthead?
I'll leave it up on the screen long enough for you to read it, so... But let's look at like this. Tesla never went to work in his laboratory or creating his inventions without... What he did first, I should say, is to develop the idea in his brain. And then he would go through every possible thing that could go wrong with it, any opportunity for improvement, and he would work it all out in simply just his brain before putting any of it to practical use.
Does that even make any sense? I mean, this whole, again, the Edison remark of, invention is 99%, perspiration and 1% inspiration. And yes, Tesla was the opposite. He did the 99% walk around in Central Park for a few hours and see if you can come up with an idea. But again, his contributions are minuscule compared to Edison's.
Or building any of the technology. And it was so successful for him. And what I'm suggesting here, and as I throw up some of these quotes...
Again, how was it successful? He squandered millions of dollars trying to transmit electricity through the atmosphere. Instead of doing what he was paid to do, which was invent the telegraph, he wasted the money on giant lightning towers. A totally impractical idea. So you say he figured it all out in his head, how everything works, and yet he couldn't figure out that the atmosphere is full of atoms, it's a dense medium, and that you're not going to be able to, just like it's difficult to transmit things through water, it's difficult to transmit things through a heavy atmosphere. And he couldn't figure that out with all his contemplations.
Is that Tesla had discovered a way, as we all actually naturally are able to do, we just don't realize it, to essentially be dialed in to the universal energies. That essentially, thoughts that come to us, you ever wonder where those come from?
Yo, brilliant. So now we have the universal energies. So Tesla rightfully mocked Einstein's bent space as, being almost a silly redundancy. I mean, an insufficiency. How can space be a something when it's supposed to be the nothing? And here you are talking about the nothing having the source of everything that happens comes from the inspiration of the nothing field, the magic field.
I have to say that some of the most brilliant ideas I've ever had in my life, or life-changing ideas that were for the better. See,
Yeah, like being a liar on the internet. Okay, apparently that works for you. So you lie on the internet, propagandize about shit in a douchebaggy manner, and people are so, gay and weird, they go for that crap. But yeah, you're a creepy little liar. I hope they write it on your tombstone because that will be the accurate truth. He was a creepy little lying putz.
seemingly came out of nowhere, and I can't explain it. You only have to look at the most successful songs ever written, the most amazing works of art, other inventions. The most successful CEOs talk about this stuff as well. It's all about
successful CEOs, like that's a real concept. Like CEOs actually do something. They're real contributors, huh? I guess that's your ambition, is to be a CEO of bullshit. Yes, the bullshit company. Ugh, scummy little entrepreneurs. Make me want to vomit.
Tuition. That essentially, if you put a will to something, it will materialize. Make no mistake, we as humans are creators. Now, I'm going to pull back.
Yeah, that's just religion. So I hope you get cancer and then you can will it away with your power will. You stupid little turd. You fucknut. Why don't you will a cure for malaria, asshole? A blight that's been around for hundreds of years. Why don't you will a cure to that, you stupid little twat?
A little bit on this conversation and save it for another video where I can talk about the occult or universal energies, and that essentially I'm convinced that every one of us has a divine nature to us. Now, hold on. I'm not talking religion here.
Yes, you are. I mean, you fucking lying piece of shit. That's exactly what this is. It's religion. Not fact-based, not evidence-based, just complete, made-up, wishy-washy, mishy-mushy crap that aggrandizes your little hope engines and your little, I'm important. I can do things. I have power. Oh, you're a disgusting turd seller.
About the source of all things and how you can utilize your powers. And when I say powers, like, don't forget, you were once dirt, and now you're a living, breathing thing that survives by eating things that grow out of the ground that were once dirt. And yet,
oh yes, no, that's how people survive. They survive by having hitmen. To capture and incarcerate sentient beings and then whack them and, process them for consumption. Kill them. And Edison's evil. Yeah, right. You eat bacon every morning.
You'll be dirt again. But in the middle of all that, you are capable of experiencing love. I mean, how do you explain love? Or laughter. Where do those things fit in for the strongest survival?
Oh, whatever. Love. Yes, your little addictions, your little ego pleasures, your little I-acquired mind, possession. That's all love is. Silly person. I'm somebody because somebody loves me. That's all you are. You're nobody, and all you're living on is this racket. And these idiots are feeding you, which is disgusting.
I'm convinced. I believe in a divineness to everything. I just don't see it in the same ways that
yes,
most organized religion.
Yeah, that's not a religion. Oh, it's not an organized religion. It's just completely made up bullshit. Yeah, so you don't even have a Jesus story. You just have the Holy Ghost and God thing.
Religions explain it because they're omitting so much truth, and much of religion's man-made. Now, I'm not saying that everything you read in the Bible or Quran or anywhere else isn't true. I think there's a lot of truth to those.
Oh, disgusting. So this is disgusting. This guy's got 10 to 1 thumbs up for this tripe. This crap that just keeps human beings in this stupid fucking sewer of wishful thinking.
Religions. But what I'm saying here is that there are more truths out there that we haven't seemingly discovered yet. I'll leave it at that. I'll save more of this.
Oh yeah, I'll save it for another video. The special stuff. I have the secret. You're gonna do your secret video. You have the secret. It's a secret in this title, but we haven't gotten to any Tesla secret yet, have we? So it's just propaganda, just selling. You're just a manipulator and a turd. You're just taking advantage of dumbasses, dumb conspiracy whores. People wishing the world wasn't the dirty, stinking shithole that it is, and have some magic belief that, oh, if we only had the Tesla power, we'd all be okay. We wouldn't be scummy, wife-swapping, erectile deficient motherfuckers.
But now let me get on to these quotes that will kind of paint you a picture of where I'm going with this.
Oh,
For example,
geez.
Tesla said,
Please.
"But instinct is something which transcends knowledge. We have, undoubtedly, certain finer fibers that enable us to perceive truths when logical deduction or any other willful effort of the brain is futile." And this is part of the reason why his...
Right. So again, as I've pointed out, Tesla was basically just a religious kook too. So what is that mush? We have certain finer fibers. What the hell is that?
works were suppressed, is that I'm convinced the powers that be do understand that intuition's a real thing. And they don't want everyone to know that. They want the masses to be essentially...
Right. So why didn't the intuition cure malaria yet? I mean, why doesn't intuition cure AIDS? I mean, this is just such a crock of shit.
Just sheep that fall in line and don't think for themselves and lack creativity, so that way the powers that be...
Yeah, that's exactly what you're selling. Don't think for yourself. Just believe in the conspiracy theories. Everything's going to be okay because, yeah, it's just cheaters that have ruined it all for us. And once we have the truth, we'll all be okay.
The Illuminati, or whatever you want to call them, can just maximize the experience of their earthly existence. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Guys, this was validated as our research and technological capabilities allowed scientists, modern-day scientists, to learn about atoms.
Oh, please. They knew about atoms before Tesla. So again, this is just such a crock of shit. I mean, energy, frequency, and vibration, it's all redundant anyway. Frequency is vibration, so that doesn't even mean anything. And energy is just an ambiguous word.
Atoms make up everything, whether it be a rock or a pen, this iPad, everything, nothing's solid. Everything's made up of the finest things, the smallest things that we know of in the universe, which are atoms, which have a nucleus, an electron, and seemingly...
Yeah, so the atoms are the smallest thing in the universe, which was a really stupid thing to say, and then you describe the little things inside the atom that are smaller than the atom. So, your written script is even a piece of shit, retard. Take that to your editor and say, gee, you sure fucked that up.
You have an object, like a rock. What you're not aware of, what your human eyes don't show you, is that most of that rock is actually hollow. What we perceive as being completely solid isn't actually the case as discovered on the atomic level. So everything is an atom. Everything's made up of an energy. We don't necessarily...
of an energy. So again, another ambiguous word. No, it's made up of forces and matter. The two interact with each other. And the forces are particles, in my opinion, but whatever. Doesn't really matter in this context.
They understand how it works, just like, say, consciousness. Like, scientists agree that consciousness is a form of energy. They don't understand how it works, but they all agree that, well, energy...
It's just stupid to call it a form of energy. It's a byproduct. And that's, I mean, to say the noise from your engine is a form of energy is to be very distortive in terms of your vocabulary. Consciousness is a byproduct of what it takes to have this complex map to living. We have a built-in memory map, and the map has to run to make us perform our little robotic duties. But that's all it is. It's a mapping machine. Don't need that.
Is something that cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, which is another reason why I buy into our divineness and that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that are...
Right, because energy can't be created or destroyed in the sense that force can't be. Force is always going somewhere. It always goes somewhere. You just can't kill a force. It's always, oh, that causes this, and this causes that, and that causes that. It's cause and effect. Yes, a chain of reactions. And you just can't stop the reactions. There's no last reaction.
The veil of the human eyes don't allow us to see. I mean, look, here's another quote. The gift of mental power comes from God, divine being, and if we concentrate our minds on that truth, we become in tune with this great power. Now,
right, so you nutters, all you defenders of Tesla, you think this is a brilliant man. he says something like the gift of mental powers, whatever mental powers are. Okay, so the what? Going to school and learning, which Tesla did. He got a very good education. Um, and that isn't important. The very good education, nah, not so important. God, that's important. Comes from God, divine being. So this is a guy who was brilliant. So the most brilliant man in the world, and he writes a sentence like that. God, divine being. So that's just like, what? What does that even mean? It's a redundancy. God, divine being. Why don't you just call him divine being and not use the word God? Anyway.
I'm under the impression that Tesla wasn't actually a religious person, but yet he did believe that there was some sort of force out there.
No, I think he just said what people wanted to hear, just like you, jackass, for money. So Tesla was the same kind of fucking whore for acceptability.
That allowed us to connect to everything and get us to where we are today and develop things that we have. Even Einstein talked about this. People will try and tell you, oh yeah, Einstein was an atheist. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
So this is a guy who previously said, I'm not talking religion, and now he's going to do this silly quote mining of Einstein, and try to make him into a religious guy when he couldn't have been more aggressive in his statements later in life, and using Spinoza and other references to try to make it clear that the only God he believes in is not some intelligent God, but a God that is the sum of the forces of the universe. Very different than a Jehovah.
Religious, but he talked about intuition as well, and his most famous quotes on that have been suppressed. In fact, at the beginning of this video, I said, Tesla being one of the smartest people ever. And a lot of people will disagree and be like, oh, no. Einstein, of course, was the smartest person ever. Well, look at what Einstein said about Tesla. He wasn't kidding. He really, truly believed that Tesla was the smartest person in existence. Yet,
when asked how it felt to be the smartest man alive, Albert Einstein replied, I don't know, you'll have to ask Nikola Tesla. Well, I'd have to see where he got that quote from. Because Nikola Tesla was a snarky little cunt who was always trashing Albert Einstein. So I don't think this is, I don't think that's a real quote.
In school, I don't remember learning about Tesla even once. Never, ever did I learn about Tesla in school. You have to start adding up. Why?
The context of that? Yeah, well, look, Tesla had plenty of fame in his time, and he squandered it by being an idiot who just talked a good fight, but he didn't fight the fight. So he talked inventions that he never invented. And I think the context of that quote, what might be, is that Einstein was probably pretty pissed off that everybody was talking about how Tesla was so fucking brilliant, and so Einstein was basically making a satirical comment by saying, well, according to the press, Nikola Tesla is supposed to be the most smartest man alive, so go ask him. So I think that's the context of that quote. So I can't say for sure, but I'm smelling more propaganda, buddy. More quote mining and distortion of the facts. And you're proud of that?
Is that? And yet he was able to develop some of the most significant and important inventions in the history of the world, all by just thinking.
That didn't happen, so again, just keep lying about what Tesla's contributions were, which were meager. He burned down buildings. He squandered all his money and left them go docile, and be sold for junk. Tesla was all show, no real go.
Things up. If you think it's just because he was smart and must have had a high IQ, guys, that's not what it is. Think about how many modern scientists out there don't develop crap. And think about it. Tesla actually spoke about this. In fact, take this quote, for example.
Yeah, again, and what did Tesla, where's the success? He never transmitted, any electricity more than 150 feet into the ground. He wasted zillions of volts of electricity. Let's see, today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments. Well, he's talking about Einstein there. And they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. So he was talking about Einstein there. That doesn't have anything to do with invention. That has to do with theoretical physics.
Today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. He's not kidding. Most of the world's smartest
All right,
people...
death ray, death ray, death ray, death ray. Tesla's death ray. He talked about it for fucking 30 years and he produced nothing. Well, he talked about it for longer than that.
Today are not putting their genius to practical use. It's the same reason why they can't create incredible inventions the way Tesla did, despite not having the internet and all kinds of other resources.
More bullshit. Again, Tesla wasn't the great inventor. Tesla was the great talker and the great, let's take pictures of me with a bunch of voltage above my head, you know. It was just a show. Tesla was show. It wasn't go.
He used his imagination. Alexander Graham Bell talked about this. Einstein talked about this. Many, many others, some of the most significant inventors of all time have spoken about this, like I said.
Right, so you can say Einstein spoke about this, and the Tesla quote is a direct response to Einstein's relativity theory. So here again, you're just a propagandist. You can't use Tesla sneering at Einstein's relativity theory, because it's a mathematical perception of reality, and then sit there and play this game, you know, where Einstein even says math sucks. No, Einstein didn't say that, douchebag.
CEOs have spoken about this. Even Donald Trump has spoken about this.
Oh, and even so that means it's a good thing. So you're a Trumpy too. On top of being a douchebag and a twat and a bit of a creepy little putz, you're a Trumpy. Ew. Double puke.
If you don't like him, give him some credit. We're talking about someone who's been enormously successful in...
No, he's been an enormous failure. He inherited millions of dollars, which is essentially billions of dollars, okay, long before you were born, okay? Decades and decades before you were born. And if he would have just put it in the bank, he would have been a billionaire just by putting it in the bank. All right, if he would have just kept the real estate he had without doing a motherfucking thing, just kept the real estate, he would have been a billionaire. He failed catastrophically. He destroyed a fortune. He didn't make a fortune, you idiot. And he hasn't paid any goddamn income taxes for 20 years because he lost so much money. And isn't that a wonderful humanitarian racket? You know, you don't get to even deduct your dental bills from your taxes, and yet this motherfucker gets to deduct anything that he ever fails at in his life. He goes to Las Vegas and loses money, he can just deduct it off his taxes. He just calls it a loss. And then he doesn't have to pay taxes. So he gets the money back. So any money he loses, he doesn't lose because he gets it back from the government. That's the racket he's playing. And you're going to sit there and tell me, oh, even if you hate Donald Trump, he's a wonderful human? No, he's a piece of shit and you're an idiot.
His life. Became the president of the United States despite all the odds against him. And he has talked about that. Everything changed.
Yeah, doing things just as dumb as you, okay? He was a one-trick pony, okay? He took advantage of the Democratic Party being stupid as fuck and thinking that all the Democrats love Muslims and foreigners. When, yes, no, most of the Democrats don't love Muslims especially and don't really like immigrants destroying the wage base. And they didn't even understand their own party, and that's the only reason Donald Trump won. He had one fucking subject, and if any Democrat would have come up against immigration, he would have won by a landslide, you dumb fuck. Donald Trump backed into the presidency. He didn't walk into it. He didn't stride into it. He backed into it.
Once he started listening to his instincts. Instincts and intuition is real, guys, and that's the important message behind this video. Tesla was dialed in.
Great. Okay, so the important message is death rays are good, and so is hating immigrants, because it makes you president. Man, do you suck. You are just such a stupid little fuck.
Figured that out. So I hope that this video helps open your mind to see that, look...
No, it makes me just realize we live in idiocracy. Idiots keep lapping this crap up. I don't know how 180,000 people could watch this piece of shit without saying, what a piece of shit this video was. What secret did you expose? Nothing. You lied in the title of the video. The whole thing is a piece of propaganda. Man, what a fucking dumbass culture we live in that something like you could succeed. A lying piece of propagandizing, truth-talkering, religious kookery nut. and you sit there and it succeeds. People fucking lap this shit up. It's a sad, tragic fact. Sad, it's pitiful, it's gross, it's disgusting.
You trust Tesla? Trust your intuition. It's that first feeling or thought that comes to you.
Oh, whatever, yes. Just trust it. Why don't you tell that to all the pedophiles? Trust that first impulse. Don't do any thinking. Tell that to all the drunks. Trust that first impulse. I'm okay, I can drive home. Yeah, intuition works. Fuck you, idiot.
Your thoughts, everything else, like your brain, the human brain, will screw you over. But start researching intuition.
Oh, yeah, right. Again, so Tesla wasn't made by his very nice education, his life experience, different jobs he had where he acquired more knowledge. No, that had nothing to do with it. He had an intuition. Fuck you.
Real thing.
And again, an intuition to do what? Waste an awful lot of electricity in his life.
Some sort of energies out there that allow us to access information, and it is...
So totally no evidence for any of this bullshit. Totally no evidence of any of you people living miraculous, clean lives. All there is your dirty tricks and the history of your dirty tricks. I mean, what a crock of shit you are selling, you putsy piece of crap.
Well, look, something big is happening behind the scenes, and I'm convinced of it. So, I'm going to close up there. I'm Jimmy. This is Bright Insight. Like and subscribe. Help me spread the message.
Jimmy, yeah, like and subscribe. Go ahead, all you fucking dumb twats. Lap up this tripe. This fucking tripe. It's disgusting. How do you people live on this planet without just being totally revolted all the time? I mean, this is just revolting. To have to coexist with these lying pieces of shit, these fucking exaggerating, storytelling nonsense sellers. Shit!
Take care, everybody.
Jimmy. What would I call him? It's pretty close, right? You're like a Jimmy. Some sort of gummy Jimmy. Oh, God, I just hate this planet. But look at all these Tesla. I mean, it's all this Tesla, Trump. Oh, this video too. I mean, I've watched them halfway through this thing. What a crock of steaming shit. Welcome to the universe. He wrote a book with 3 other dumb twats. And it's just the most... just such a piece of shit. I'm bringing up the Drake equation again. That's his contribution to modern science. Neil deGrasse Tyson, this brilliant scientist, his wonderful contribution in his wonderful book. His section of the book is the Drake equation. Carl Sagan's 968-year-old piece of crap of an idea. Let's just make up some fake facts and talk about the fake world those fake facts make possible. Yeah. Oh, God, I just so disappointing. Yeah, it's just terrible. Shit everywhere. Just shit. Nothing but shit.